But Garrett, let's start with you because you just got off the phone with President-elect Trump just moments ago. What did you learn? What is he saying about the possible shutdown and also the future of Speaker Johnson?
Yeah, it was a very interesting conversation, Jonathan. On the possible shutdown, he basically said if there's going to be a shutdown, let it be now. Let it happen on a Democratic president's watch. He wants to see these issues in terms of spending and the debt ceiling, which has really emerged as kind of the sleeper issue here, of which he is very focused. But he wants to see it all get dealt with now, essentially before he comes into office in January, and clear the decks. Now, I asked him if he still had confidence in Speaker Johnson, and he said, we'll see. He was clearly very unhappy with the continuing resolution that was put forward yesterday. He called it a Democrat trap. But I have to tell you, the most interesting part of our conversation was about the debt ceiling, this concept, which the United States is the only country in the world to have, to sort of artificially try to control debt. It has only ever been raised. It has never been breached. There's a lot of sort of theory out there about what could happen if it is. I asked the president-elect if he would support not just raising it again to some distant date, but to get rid of it entirely. He said that would be the smartest thing that Congress could do. He thinks the entire debt ceiling concept is essentially purely psychological. It clearly doesn't do anything to actually control debt. And he said if Democrats, who have suggested in the past that's something that they might want to do, want to go down that road, he would support it entirely, he told me. So just another sign of how fundamentally different this incoming Republican administration is going to be than any other Republican administration any of us have ever dealt with.
Yeah, so Garrett, you're right to point out that some Democrats would probably agree with getting rid of the debt ceiling limit. But whatever Trump's protests aside, yes, Joe Biden, a Democrat, is president. But it's hard to imagine the Republicans not taking the blame for this shutdown. I'm also curious, Garrett, what he had to say about Elon Musk, because this suddenly momentum switch yesterday, which led Republicans to come out and defeat this, sort of began with Elon Musk on Twitter tweeting over 100 times to the point where there's a lot of speculation wondering if Musk's influence rivals that of Trump.
Right. Who is the tail wagging the dog here? What's going on? I tried to ask Trump about that. He said, look, I told Elon Musk, this is the president-elect saying, I told him if he agrees with me on this bill, he ought to say so. Now, he indicated that Musk's concerns with the CR were somewhat different from his, that Musk was mostly focused on it from a cost-cutting perspective, as is his, want as the head of this DOJ commission, this sort of outside consultancy effort, if you will, to try to increase efficiency and cut spending in the federal government. So their concerns were slightly different, but the president-elect said he was very much on track with everything that Elon Musk was saying yesterday and his efforts to get this CR spiked before it could be voted on.
So, Garrett, in the circle around Donald Trump, when Mike Johnson is saying, we just heard him say it, Elon and I were on a text chain together, the impact of that, assuming that Musk has equal power, perhaps more power in some indications than the president-elect of the United States. What impact do you think that's having on that inner circle?
Well, look, I think it makes everything more challenging for Speaker Johnson and for his team, who are used to doing things in the way they have been done on Capitol Hill. I mean, there's a lot of talk about, the idea that we're going to reinvent the wheel here. But what we saw coming into yesterday was a very traditional end-of-year kind of Christmas tree bill in which all the remaining work from the previous Congress gets dealt with before lawmakers get out of town. Elon Musk, I don't think anyone disputes that he's brilliant, but he also doesn't necessarily understand the way that this process has been done. And it's pretty clear that he doesn't care. And I think there's a number of different ways that you can look at that. It is clearly disruptive. Some Republicans think in a good way, but it has thrown a huge monkey wrench into getting this done before the government shuts down, before the end of the year. We're going to have a speaker early next year at inauguration, all these things that have to happen. So you're selling lawmakers on a bill, on a piece of government work product that they're used to doing, and you're selling and explaining a concept to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who are coming at it from the outside at the same time. That is a very difficult task to do simultaneously about the same piece of legislation that you're having to write in real time.
NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake just off the phone with President-elect Trump. Garrett, thank you so much.